Welcome to the Success Revenue Podcast, the only podcast in the Middle East that brings you leaders in customer success, account management, sales, and go-to-market to share ideas, perspectives, and valuable learnings on how to successfully drive revenue, delight customers, and take it to the next level.
We are your hosts. I'm Haidar Saad, CEO of RevSetter, the modern customer management platform. And with me, I have my amazing co-host, Ivy Ferrero, a CES speaker, executive, and advisor. And we're very excited to bring you a long list of amazing guests this season of the Success Revenue Podcast. And today's guest is definitely no exception. She has 20 years of experience in the technology space in Saudi and KSA. And amazingly, she has a lot of experience across many large organizations, working with multinationals and local organizations as well. And today's podcast, we're going to have a lot of takeaways, I think. One, we're going to speak about how to drive digital transformation across larger and smaller organizations in the Middle East and beyond. We're going to also tap into how to effectively manage and scale your customer success teams, both through the day-to-day work, but also through change management with themselves and their customers. And lastly, speak about women and leadership and technology and how you can take those drives and really elevate your work while being a mother or a female in technology, which we're very excited about discussing as well. Today is going to be a fantastic conversation, I believe, with a fantastic guest. I'm very excited about this, Ivy, and I hope you're doing well. And I actually want to ask you a question to start off today about that last piece around you're a mother, you're in tech, you have an amazing career so far and a great trajectory. How do you balance that? How do you kind of keep all those things in motion? Because it's a full-time job being a mother, and it's something different even from being a father. At least that's what my wife tells me, and that's what I see out there. So, how do you balance that? I think that's incredible.
Your wife is a smart woman. She's definitely
Definitely is.
onto
Definitely much smarter
something.
than me. Definitely much smarter than me. So
Yeah.
that's for sure.
I feel like personally for me, when I became a mother, because of going through this journey of being a mother of a 3-year-old boy, there's so many different challenges, and it's almost like getting an MBA in a university. It's like a whole different universe. And for me, it actually has made me much more stronger and much more driven. So I think that also kind of translates to how I live life, how I try to give my best at work, and the sort of like ambition that I have to be able to provide fully for my family. So I think both components, I've heard you said this multiple times, that children, although yes, it does take away a lot of your energy, it also gives you so much more energy for you to feel like, okay, you have dependence on you. You want them to feel proud of you. So somehow, not only are you providing financially, but you have to provide emotionally to be able to hold space for them. And I think one of the biggest challenges is that you work a full-time job, but then at nighttime that it still carries on. You're in a full-time being a parent. And so I think it's just the way to balance it is taking what you have become, like becoming a mother, becoming a father, take that and use us to fuel your own fire inside so you can keep going and you understand why you're doing it. I think at the end of the day, we all want financial freedom, right? If I had a lot of money in my bank account, I wouldn't be working full-time for another company, probably. I'll be doing my own thing, right? So I think in the pursuit of wanting financial freedom for all parents, I think the best thing that we can do is just take it one day at a time and know that the picture is bigger and that we're doing it because of the next generation.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I think, you're right, all across the board, and that emotional piece of it that you're providing, it's financial piece, of course, the kids, you're providing for them, you're helping them grow and develop in that sense, but the emotional piece being there. And I think even with the financial stuff in terms of financial freedom, the biggest part of that is it's not just financially being able to buy or do things, but it's having time, right? Making your own decisions of how you want to spend your time, in what way you want to do it, how much you're spending that with your family and beyond. So I think that's always been very important from my perspective as you're kind of building up the financial piece, but also you're building up your ability to kind of decide what you do with your time and do your own thing or work with someone, but you make that decision and you have that freedom to do so. So that's brilliant. And again, I think during today's conversation, we'll get into a lot of these different things, and of course, deep into digital transformation and change management and customer success from an enterprise perspective. So I'm very excited about getting today's conversation started. Ivy, what do you think? Should we jump right into today and bring our guest on?
Yes, let's do it. All right, guys. I am so excited today. Every time that we have a female guest in the podcast, I get so excited. I want to welcome Laila. She is a technology leader with a 20 plus years of experience, has handled multiple positions in a number of some of the biggest technology companies like Microsoft, Oracle, and SAP, focusing on customer services and success throughout their digital transformation journey. She's also a mother of two children. One, it's a girl and a boy. I wanted to say baby girl and baby boy, but I remember you said they were teenagers. And in addition to her profession, she is an artist, which I can't wait to find out what else you are, Laila. So welcome to the show, Laila. I am so excited to have you here. If you just want to kick us off and tell us where are you based, a little bit more about your background, who's Laila, and how did you ended up in your domain?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Envy and Haidram. And thank you for having me in this podcast. I'm actually in the IT or technology field, as you mentioned, Evie, since 20 years, maybe now. I started as a web developer. I was always focusing on with customers and understanding their needs, building solutions for them, becoming a project manager to manage their projects, until I ended joining Microsoft as a technical account manager. Actually, in this stage, I understood the concept of customer satisfaction and taking care of customers, making sure they are successful. And I can consider this as the beginning of my passion in customer success. And I continued actually in this field, working closely with customers.
Beautiful. And Laila, with so much experience that you've had, you obviously have seen the evolution of customer success as a discipline itself. What are your thoughts of customer success in the Middle East region?
If we talked about the evolution of customer success in the region, of course, I'm based in Saudi, by the way. Throughout my career, I'm working here in Saudi. So if we, in the era of before the cloud, let's say, when the customer were on-prem, the choice of having a customer success, it was optional with the customer. So the customer decide if he want to sign, let's say, a premier service contract with the vendor to have more care. With having an on-prem solution, the investment that is being done by the customer, as you know, it's huge. Actually, having the data center ready, the operation, the having the also resources to manage the data center. The choice of having a customer success is with the customer themselves. After that, when moving to the cloud, and the change between the capex to the opex here, the importance of having a customer success became more crucial here. The companies, the SaaS companies, actually, in order for them to retain customer, it became very important to work closely and to, in order to remain profitable, I mean, they need to retain their customers here. With the recurring also subscription model, it become very important to make sure that the customers are satisfied. The relation between the customer also and the vendor become more now partnership rather than just sell and or ending up after selling the product. I see that it is considered also as a win-to-win situation here. The vendor or the customer is looking to have the full or to realize the full value of the solution that they bought. The vendor themselves, they need to make sure that the customer is satisfied in order to retain their business and to make sure the continuity of the business and also the growth. Looking into the fact that 80-20 80-20 I mean of the revenue or 80-20, which is the most part of the revenue coming from the existing customer. That means that we need to really focus on delivering a continuous value to the customer in order to achieve the growth. That's why after the cloud, the customer success role became so crucial, keeping or engaged with or keeping the customer engaged and maintaining this relationship. The customer success, it's a holistic approach throughout the whole life cycle of the customer journey, starting from the onboarding, the know-how, moving to the implementation, and then after that until we reach realizing the value, with renewal after that and expand. So the customer success will be working with the customer to identify their needs, their business objectives, building success plans with them in order to make sure for them to achieve their business objectives and to realize the value. This is the way I see it currently, or the change that happened between the past and now. But if we're talking now about the future, which is also starting to happen right now, is the introduction I see of the AI and machine learning in this area, where we see the customer success is becoming more proactive and also depending on a data-driven approach. It's more about let's say predicting the customer needs, predicting their behavior in order to help us to or in order to be able to help the customer to realize the value. For example, it's predicting, for example, the usage of the product and also analyzing the tickets in order to be able to predict the customer health score, for example, and to reduce the churn if there is any before happening. I mean, also another example, identifying the growth. It will help us to identify areas of growth. For example, if we have customer using product A, product B, so it's most probably that the customer will need to buy or use product C, for example, based on the best practices that we see from the AI, using communication on chatbot, on especially with the mass customers, the small, many customers that we may have. So the usage also of the chatbot will allow us to maintain good alignment between the vendor and this big number of small customers, pushing, let's say, updates, answering their questions. It's very useful to have them always also updated and aligned with them. In general, I see this having this kind of integration, I mean, between the customer platform, customer success platform, CRM, analytics tools. It will help have a better prediction of customer health, and will have also, or will provide a seamless also experience throughout all the customer touch points.
Love that, Laila.
Yeah.
And again, Laila, it's so great to meet you. Welcome to the podcast. And I think that was such a great kind of explanation of the evolution of customer success, of where it came from and where it's going. I think you're right on point with a lot of these things. And as someone that's been in customer success for 20 years, before it was called customer success, I remember the good old on-prem days and,
Yes.
service agreements and all that stuff. And just kind of seeing how, and as you were breaking it down, that's evolved over time has been fantastic. And I'm really excited about kind of that future that you're describing in terms of AI and technology, and these things will continue elevating what we're all doing in customer success. So that's super exciting. And on that as well, Laila, you mentioned you're in Saudi. Since I moved to Dubai 6 months ago, and I've talked about this on the pod before, I've been in Saudi almost every month. I've been in Riyadh every month. I've had to go there for work and business, and it's a booming community. I've been there to a few different CS events and as a speaker. It's been really amazing to see how, and I've been so far just to Riyadh, so I know Jeddah's growing as well in other areas. I'm not sure where you are.
Yes.
But that's been really cool to see. You're in Riyadh as well, yeah. So yeah, you're in the middle of that boom. I was kind of curious about that. Like, how have you seen, from your perspective, the tech scene and customer success in particular evolve and grow in Riyadh and Saudi and KSA, and kind of where is that headed? I'm curious to get your perspective on that specifically.
Yeah. The government in Saudi Arabia in general is focusing a lot into digital transformation, with and have a very ambitious, of course, digital national digital also strategy, and with that, the establishment of the digital government entity. It was actually established in 2021. And the main focus of this DGA is to regulate and to overview the implementation of the national digital strategy throughout all the government's entity. With that, it makes actually the entities or the government entities in general and the customers in general very mature. I see actually the evolution of the maturity of the customers throughout these years, which make it even more challenging to vendors to show the value actually, and to be more aligned with their standards. And with that, I see the importance of having such roles become more important now. We need to maintain this relationship even after sales. This way, it will help us to show the value to our customers and to maintain them throughout their journey.
No, that's great. And yeah, I definitely see that. I think it's KSA is so interesting because the government is investing so much in digital transformation and customer experience and technology. And so it's kind of one of those things where you're getting that government support behind it, and then the private sector companies are kind of following along right now also, which is a little bit different.
Of course.
It's a different approach than, I'm used to from back in the US and in Europe, where a lot of times the private sector driving it and then kind of government coming along later. So that's super interesting. And Laila, I'm curious. You've been doing this for a long time, and you mentioned kind of transitioning in and enjoying working with customers. If you kind of boil it down, like, what is it that really fascinates you about customer success? What is that you love about that field?
I love actually being in this field and continued working in this field because I really like it when I see that the customer at the end is seeing the value of their investment. The journey is not easy. I can say that actually this role even is not easy because you are we sell the product and then the customer will now let's say start the journey of doing things or having things happen in reality. With lots of escalations of issues, of problems. It is challenging, and I really love to be to be part of these challenges because at the end it will pay off, and celebrating actually with the customer this success. That's why really I love to be with the customers throughout this journey to the end. Yeah,
I love that, Laila. And I think you said something that is very important, and is the fact that it is a very rewarding role to be able to drive customers to success and to grow that particular account and everything. And Lena, I wanted to touch on a big accomplishment that you had. So you were appointed as the first female manager in Oracle in Saudi Arabia, which is a
Oh,
significant milestone. And I wanted to ask you, how do you see the landscape evolving for women in tech in leadership
yeah.
positions across the Middle East? And is there any sort of advice you will give to aspiring female leaders in the region?
It's really fascinating to see the evolution of females actually in technology overall and in general. I was in the field since let's say 2000. I remember at this time the options were very limited for Saudi females. The only entities that we can work in is education, banking, and medical. That's it. And having also female leaders were very limited, very challenging. And seeing the evolution throughout the years is really, really satisfying and very. I'm so glad really to see this. Now you can see females in every industry, in all entities, government, in the private sector, with lots of inspiring, really female leaders. The advice that I can give is that. Try to cultivate your strengths because this will help you to have a solid career that is satisfying. Actually, working happily will enable you to inspire people even more. Also, don't compare yourself to other. I know this is very challenging with looking into LinkedIn and all the posts there. Comparing yourself to other, it will you will not be genuine enough to have your own vision to inspire also other. And also one more thing is that you don't need to be bossy or rude in order to be to be a leader. Actually, one of the most inspiring leaders are so inclusive and so kind. Be actually communicate with mindfulness. Uh, be tough, but be fair. Be honest. Give credits to others. It's not easy actually to be a leader. Otherwise, we will see everyone is a leader. This is my advice in general.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And I chiming in with a comment. I think that's one of the things. First of all, amazing to see that development and you being one of those people leading that way and being a female inspiration is awesome. And I think that's one of maybe from the outside. I think that's an unknown or a sort of perspective of how that is in Saudi. And, over the years, that's maybe been the case. But I was actually surprised the first time I was there 4 or 5 months ago at an event speaking and then following that as well. But there were a lot of female leaders at that event, a lot of executives. And, coming for the first time, you don't know what to expect and what to do. And then you kind of see that and it's a blossoming place and developing. And again, there's still a lot of development to happen, of course, as anywhere else. But to see that has been really cool, actually. So just to note that it's definitely noticed and coming from the outside. And I even had last week, I was there again for another event. And one of my American colleagues, he was there also with me. And he said the same thing. He was like, this is, you don't know what to expect coming to Riyadh for the first time. But, people are so friendly. Food was amazing. The people were great. The event was filled with male and female executives and leaders. So there was like
You
that
feel the
feel,
energy, I
you
guess.
definitely, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
so you feel that
yeah.
energy. This is the place to be and grow. So that was really cool to see.
It's so great to hear from your insights, Leila, on how many female leaders you see are actually in this space. So it makes me really happy. And I wanted to ask you, going back to your experience helping organizations through their digital transformation journeys across different industries, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the common pitfalls or challenges that you've seen that companies are encountering, and how can they better prepare for success?
Starting the digital transformation journey is not, of course, easy, challenging, really. A number of challenges that company may face or organization may face if they decided to go with digital transformation is that, for example, the hesitation of the management, the readiness or having the digital talents in place, also the agile mindset. One of the challenges, not having an agile mindset and of course the legacy of the solutions that they have, and the way they would measure also the progress. So in order to prepare, I mean, for or to have a good plan ahead, we need to touch point. I see the three areas, which is the people, processes, and products. Having a proper strategy and a vision from leadership for this transformation is crucial, of course, as a beginning or as a start, and also having the buy-in of all the leaders in order to be able to manage the challenge of having some resistance. So having a change management in place plan is very, very important in order to be able to, as I mentioned, to reduce any resistance. Also, having a plan for the resources. Are we going to have the resources in house, or we're going to outsource, maybe working with some vendors? And also regarding the solutions that we're having, the legacy solutions, we need to make sure to modernize it in order to be unified and more customer centric. This will help us also throughout this transformation journey. All these three aspects, products, processes, and people, is important. And at the end, of course, how are we going to measure this progress is very important to have very clear KPIs and objectives in order for us to measure this progress. Yeah, this is in general. I guess I didn't forget anything. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Great
that's
insights.
awesome. Yeah, definitely. I think that's very helpful. And I mean, to that point, Layla, as well, I'm kind of curious because you obviously worked with, multinationals and organizations are in
Yes.
a lot of different places, and then you work with similar than Saudi local organizations. Do you see kind of a difference? And I'm kind of curious how the Middle Eastern and GCC companies, how they approach it versus their global counterparts. Are there differences, similarities there that you're noticing?
As I mentioned maybe before, the focus here on digital transformation is huge. And this makes the companies or organizations here in Saudi Arabia and Middle East in general, make them more mature. I see them really leading in this area, comparing maybe to others, which will make our job even, sometimes it will make it easier and sometimes it will make it more challenging, of course. The maturity of the customer. It will raise the expectations, but it will help us also to achieve. I mean, when the customer understand their needs, their objectives, when it become clear for them, of course, it will make the job of the vendor even better. Plan is there, everything is clear. So yeah, in general, I see that in the region we are leading, or organizations are leading in this space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that makes a lot of sense, and that's also cool because that usually also brings a lot of opportunities, new jobs, new growth and development as you're
Of
going through that
course.
transformation.
Of
Which I'm
course.
sure that's part of what you guys
Yes.
position as well.
Yeah, the growth that is happening, of course, and the
Hmm.
demand is
Yeah,
high. This is maybe the part that will make our job more challenging, but the demand is really high, and we need to plan also as a capacity and as the resources to align with this demand, of course, in
yeah,
general.
no,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. And to that
Yeah.
last point, then Layla, from as a customer success leader yourself and managing your team internally, but also as they're managing customers through this journey, uh, how do you approach the change management aspect, whether that's process, technology, culture? There's a lot of things that goes into changing things, right? That process of change management. Do you have any examples or tips and tricks, maybe any projects that you've
Mhm.
seen where that
Mhm.
change management aspect has come
Yes.
into play?
Actually, I have a very good example when I was responsible about one of the strategic customers of one of the vendors I was working with. It was a Saudi company, but a global, actually, very big company. And they were just starting their journey with a SaaS solution. That is very, of course, important to them. It was actually the HR SaaS solution. The organization was really struggling And when I handled them, I was figuring out what is the reason they are struggling with the usage or the adoption of this product. Mainly, it was change management. And you can't imagine how much this area is very
Yeah.
important. We worked a lot with them on this. We assigned actually change management experts. We delivered the number of sessions for their leadership, for their users, or we helped them to build some strategies for change management. For example, they started rebranding the product with a name, special name that they choose. They start to do some marketing campaigns on their portal, like videos, like and banners also in their buildings. They planned for frequent communication to be sent to their stakeholders to make sure that they get their buy-in. They are always informed. One of the things they were struggling with, not only resistance, actually, with the SaaS, having the SaaS solution, you would get quarterly updates. Some of these updates need some tweaks on their, for example, if it is some big update happening, it will need some tweaks on their processes. So how can they manage this suddenly having it? So we built together a process to be informed about these updates ahead of time so that they can prepare themselves, they can send some communication, they can decide if they want to implement it now or maybe later. By this way, it will help them to keep always to be agile. And being in the cloud, actually, it requires the customer to be agile in order to be innovative or to reach this innovation of the cloud, having this best practices and new trends, for example, in HR, to be able to implement it in their solution, they need to be agile and then they need to be ready to do these tweaks in their processes and their environment and with to be able to manage these changes with their business users. And to have also, one of the things we have done is having also change champions there and train the trainer sessions and training is very important, of course, things to help users to adopt. Yeah, so this is one of the examples that we have done in change management with the customer.
Incredible. Leila, it's interesting how a lot of people don't take into consideration how much effort a change management does take.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing about that. Talking about innovation, of course, I am going to ask you a question about AI. So, given your experience with cloud technologies and also with the digital transformation, how do you see all of these emerging technologies like AI reshaping customer success practices in the Middle East? And what do you think CS leaders should be prepared for?
Yeah, it's very important, yes, of course, to be prepared and open for this new, era of AI. One of the most important pillars being in customer success is to be proactive, not reactive. Being reactive, this is, of course, I call this, it's more support. It's not a customer success. AI will help to be proactive. I see there is a big potential having AI in this field, especially because it will help us to predict, as I mentioned, customer needs, customer behaviors, will help us to predict their health, to be able to not to have any churn. Churn is a big concern, of course, in this field. Losing the customers when when it is too late. So it will help us to be prepared in advance to handle to have the discussion with the customer to understand what's happening, how can we improve our service, what can we do for them. Being prepared and being able to innovate in this area is very important, yes, in this field, customer success.
I love that. I love that. I think there was a point last year where a lot of people were resisting AI. And I think it's becoming way more obvious that there's no way for us to resist it. And that the best thing that we can do is prepare ourselves to be able to know how to better leverage AI. So thank you for sharing your intake on that, Leila. And, I took a look at your LinkedIn and I was really impressed. That's why I invited you to the podcast. And I see that you've had numerous certifications. I mean, you even got your MBA. So you clearly have invested a lot in continuous learning. I wanted to ask you, how do you approach personal development, and what sort of skills do you think are crucial for customer success professionals today?
Having certifications, I see, or the decision to have a certain certificate, it was more related to expertise or having experience in certain field or growth. So when I was, for example, a developer, I was interested to handle the project overall, not only in specific area being a developer. So that this, I mean, drive me to read more about project management and became certified in PP. And this allowed me to grow or to be a project manager after being a developer. And then I wanted to know more about or to understand the business and maybe to be able to handle or to manage teams. And that's why at this time, I decided to have my MBA, which allowed me, of course, to grow and become a people manager and managing teams and a leader. Um, and after that, specializing in the customer success, I practiced it, but I want to know it as a science so I can even talk more confidently about it. So I decided to have these certifications in customer success. So yeah, this is the way. And having certifications and I mean continuous learning will enable you, of course, to grow in your, of course, career and in your specialization also itself.
I love that,
It's
Leila.
good.
I love the whole concept of being lifelong learners. I think and now there's so much accessibility to, let's say,
Yes.
YouTube University. So whatever skills you want to learn, you can just access the internet and be able to learn it. And Leila, there's a question that I wanted to ask you because obviously I'm also a mom. And I love to ask this question for women who are in leadership roles and that have impressive career trajectories. How do you balance being a mother and also being a rock star at your job? Because obviously you get home and you're still a full-time mom. So how do you actually balance all of it together?
Yeah. 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 Of course, it's not easy, but you always need to understand your priorities. Maybe this is the most important part of it. When my children were still young, of course, they are teenagers, by the way, now. They are 19 and 16. But when they were young, it's not wrong to decide to have either an easier job or maybe to have even a break. This will allow you to focus more on your children. Opportunities will never end, and then you can go back with the and I mean continue your career, maybe having more challenging, of course, roles. This is one thing. So having a break is one of the things that helped me to manage. And also the support around you that, of course, the support system is very important to help you. This is this in general. Yeah, these two aspects mainly.
I mean, it does take a village to raise a family. So
Of course.
support is
So
extreme.
there will be some compromises, as I mentioned. Maybe you will be slower than others, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Opportunities will never end. But priorities is important.
Yeah,
Of course.
and that
Yeah.
really ties well
Mm.
together, Leila, with what you said about not comparing yourself to others people's
Yeah,
journey. Because I think
exactly.
when you do that, you take the focus away from yourself and from
Yes.
shining your own light and
Sure.
finding out what are exactly your strengths, not what are
Of course.
everybody else's strengths, but what are yours.
Everybody
Yeah,
others.
because I think at the
So everyone has his own pace.
Yeah.
Also, you
Yeah.
know, it's not necessary we are all together. Yeah, this in the same pace.
I feel like your uniqueness is what makes you who you are, and with that,
True.
nobody else can really compete with you. And in this
True.
new
True.
age with AI, authenticity is 100% the one thing that is going to be on top of all the currencies of how we actually value others and yeah, and make decisions.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Oh, that's awesome. And it says such a great perspective with working parents and in particular working moms. It's a different thing. I have three children myself as well, and my wife is a rock star, working, dealing with all the different things there along me. But ours are younger, so they're 7 and under. So we're still in the phase where they're just totally crazy. So you've gone through that,
Yes.
where it's at least hopefully it'll be easier at that age. They'll be more self sufficient.
Yeah.
But it is fun though. They do give you even at this age, they give you a lot of energy too. They require a lot of energy, but they give you a lot of energy back, which kind of keeps you going as well. Like, okay, they're annoying right now, they're crazy right now, but then they'll run and give you a hug or be all cute, and you're like, okay, it's fine.
True,
Yeah,
true.
so it's a balance there for sure. Amazing,
Yeah.
Laila. So this kind of takes us to our last section. It's been so insightful always to hear all these different perspectives, and you've had an amazing career and journey. So learned a ton throughout this conversation. And now we're going to jump into our last section that we always do with our guests, which is essentially a lightning round of quick questions and answers. So if you're ready, Laila, we'll jump into that, and I'll start us off.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right,
yes.
amazing. Okay, cool. So we'll get us off on the easy one here. And first question is, what's currently your favorite content to consume? Book, podcast? What are kind of the main recommendations for you?
And the podcast, of course, this podcast will become one of my favorites.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Uh,
I love the podcast, the Diary of a CIO,
Yeah.
of a
yeah,
CEO.
yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I love it. It's even he introduced a very interesting topics with very interesting also guests. So this is one of my favorite podcasts.
Yeah,
Really,
that's
yes.
very well.
I think you mentioned the books,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe I can recommend some of the books in customer success. One of the good books to be read is the name of the book is the Outstanding Guide to Customer Success Strategy. This is one of the best books in this field.
amazing. Also,
Yeah.
great recommendations. Both the book, that one's really good for leaders in particular, and Direct CEOs as a top notch podcast. Great recommendations.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
next one here for you.
Thank you.
Favorite people to
Cool.
follow or take inspiration from? Any specific one or the ones you don't want to mention?
I don't know. I need to go back, but I don't have the answer for this question, really.
Yeah, no worries. There's a lot of voices out there today. We actually have a lot of guests that
Not
don't
much.
answer that question.
Exactly.
They're like, I don't have a specific person I consume. It's a lot of reading, a lot of LinkedIn. So yeah, you're definitely not alone there, Laila. Awesome. And then last one from me, and then I'll hand over to Ivy here to ask a couple as well. But as we're kind of first quarter of 2025 here, recording this, if you would pick one thing high level, what's your favorite prediction for 2025?
Oh, of course, AI. Year of AI.
Yes, that's it.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes,
Yes.
that's definitely one
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm,
Awesome.
For sure.
All right, Leila. I'm about to ask you my favorite question that I get to ask all of our guests. So, what is one life philosophy you like to live by?
Enjoy your journey. I see this is a very important thing. To enjoy all aspects of your life. As we mentioned, your children, you need to enjoy having and give this a priority. When you work, you need to enjoy it to be also able to inspire others. You need to balance your life. You need to have a hobby. It's not all about work, so that you can also have an energy to influence actually your work, having some creativity outside. So I see it very important to enjoy what you are doing. This is my life
Yes.
philosophy.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. And lastly, Leila, on the weekends when you're not at work, during the weekdays, what do you do on the weekends? I'm assuming you spend time with your family. But what are you up to? And then if people are trying to find you, they're trying to connect with you, where is the best way to find you?
Of course, as I mentioned, as you mentioned, I'm an artist. I enjoy painting, and this is the way also I diffuse. Yes, yes, and I do also exhibitions. This is how I what I do in my free, of course, hours, maybe after work and also in the weekends. Where to find me? You can find me in LinkedIn. Yeah, Laila AlJindan. This is my profile.
Beautiful. And Leila, your paintings, what do you like to paint?
I love to reflect the Saudi culture. Also the change happening in Saudi inspires me, so I try to reflect it in my paintings. I like also to paint women, also in general, and Saudi women, and uh, all the changes that happen, reflecting it in my paintings. So yeah, this is what I always try to reflect our culture in general.
Oh, I love that.
Amazing.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
That is awesome. Layla, it's been such a pleasure having you on the podcast, and such a lovely, great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. I will
Thank
look
you.
forward to having you on again and seeing you and maybe your paintings next time in Riyadh as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. It was also a very interesting discussion with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Leila.
Have a nice day.
We want to thank our sponsors for supporting the Sussex Revenue Podcast. RevSetter is the #1 customer success and management platform in the Middle East region, offering global capabilities mixed with regional solutions that helps your CS, account management, and go-to-market teams 10x efficiency, improve customer experience, and turbocharge customer retention rates.
And thank you to Redefine, a leading marketplace for workers and employers in the healthcare space. Needs and demands meet, create benefits for both sides. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.